is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Ohio.
A little on the cool and breezy side, but otherwise it is a beautiful night. And we welcome you to Citi Field in New York. Reds embarking on a 6-game road trip, and tonight it begins with the first of 3 against the defending National League champion New York Mets. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us for Monday Night Baseball right here on Fox Sports Ohio. And we've seen some good pitchers already this year, Mr. Welch, but tonight we will perhaps see the most powerful pitcher right now in the entire National League.
There's no question. He may be the most powerful pitcher in the history of baseball concerning that is as a starting pitcher. We know what Aroldis Chapman can do on the other side of town. We're talking about Noah Syndergaard, 6 feet, 6 inches of flame-throwing nastiness. I mean, this guy comes right after you, and the kind of season he's had going so far this year is really just historic, not just remarkable. He's 2-0 with a 0.9 earned run average. He's only given up a couple of runs. He struck out 29 batters, and every other batter, it seems like, just going down swinging.
The Mets have been pitching rich in their history. And you see only Pedro Martinez through the first start of the season, and the Mets' all-time franchise record, struck out one more batter than Syndergaard's 29 to begin this year. Okay, so you know the challenge, and the man trying to match him pitch for pitch here tonight is the Reds ace in Raisel Iglesias.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Pedro Martinez because, you know, you may say that you see a lot of similarity between Raisel Iglesias and Martinez. He doesn't quite have the changeup that Pedro has, but he's got an excellent slider. He drops down a little bit on right-handers. He changes speeds. He can dial it up to about 94 miles an hour to keep you honest. So he's a guy that is certainly up to the challenge. So if you were going to match up on paper, who's the best guy to run out there against Syndergaard? It would be Iglesias, and it just happens to fall that way. So we've got a great pitching matchup tonight.
The Mets on offense are hitting the long ball. 25 home runs already this season. And they're led, strangely enough, by a guy that we saw for a long time that you never thought of as much of a power hitter in the former Pirate Neil Walker.
Yeah, and he's playing second base, too, so that's not normally the place where you get a lot of power. But he has hit 7 long balls so far this month. That is by far the most he's ever hit in 1 month in his major league career, and he's been around a while. The other guy that we probably remember from his days as a Cleveland Indianer was Asdrubal Cabrera. This guy is also hitting the ball very well. He's now 30 years old. This is not a young Mets ball club. This is a team that is meant to win right now. There's a lot of 30-year-olds and 30-plus years olds on this lineup, but they can play some baseball, and they're waiting for the Reds to get to town.
One guy who loves coming to the Big Apple is Brandon Phillips. Wait till Jim Day gives you some numbers on his buddy Brandon. That's coming up next. You're watching Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Citi Field in New York. I'm Jim Day on the field. Game 1 of 3 with the Mets coming up. And you heard Tom Brenneman say Brandon Phillips likes playing here. Well, the numbers are actually incredible. He has had at least 1 hit in every single game he has ever played in New York against the Mets. That includes Shea Stadium. That includes here at Citi Field. A .338 career average, 6 home runs, and 29 runs driven in. It is quite the streak, but believe it or not, it is not the longest hit streak versus a single opponent on the road since 1914. You check out our IGS Bringing the Energy. And all these guys, though, ahead of him are all in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. But 32 straight games with at least a hit at the New York Mets. 32, and the Reds hope and counting. We'll find out. Tough test, though, tonight as Noah Syndergaard goes to the hill. Reds looking to take a little bite out of the Big Apple. Rysell goes to the hill. Tom Brenneman and Chris Welsh along next with all the play-by-play action of Reds baseball. Stay with us.
Field in preparation of game 1 of 3 against the Redlegs. Let's take a look at Brian Price's starting lineup here tonight. Zach Cozart back in the lineup. What a start he's off to, hitting .400 on the year. The Eugenio Suarez followed by Joey Votto. And then Brandon Phillips in the cleanup spot. Mesoraco catching, Duvall in right. No Jay Bruce on paternity leave for the next 3 days at least. Scott Schebler in left. Rysell Iglesias on the mound, and Billy Hamilton back in the lineup. And on the mound, 6'6", 242 pounds, 23-year-old Texan Noah Syndergaard.
You know, when you're as big as Noah Syndergaard and you throw as hard as he does, it's so easy to quantify everything in his life, meaning that he throws the hardest of any starter out there. In fact, maybe harder than any starter in the history of baseball. He's a big guy, almost bigger than life. He's only 23 years old. All the numbers that surround, but you're not thinking numbers when you're in the batter's box. You're hunting for a fastball and trying to drive the bat through the zone. Because if you wait around for his slider, it's going to be too late.
First pitch in there, a strike to Cozart, and we're underway. Beautiful night for baseball, 63 degrees, wind to crosswind, going from right to left at about 8 miles per hour, and Syndergaard quickly ahead at 0-2.
And the key, Tom, and I think that this goes back to every coach that ever coached amateur baseball or high school baseball tells their kids when they face a pitcher that's throwing really hard, you don't try to swing hard, you just swing quick. Shorten it up and get the bat on the ball.
One batter, one strikeout for Syndergaard. He has 30 of those so far this season.
Well, I mean, he's got several lethal weapons out there. One is a high fastball around the letters. If you chase that pitch, you're going to be doing that all night long. But it is so hard to lay off of because your eyes are close to that ball, and your eyes tell your brain that you can hit it.
Syndergaard grew up in a suburb of Dallas, Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. When he was growing up, the town only had about 30,000 people in it. That has nearly doubled in size over the last 5 years. Mansfield, Texas. The Eugenio Suarez at 300, 5 home runs and 14 runs batted in. We told a story the other night. Syndergaard originally the 38th overall pick by the Toronto Blue Jays. That's a supplemental round in the 2010 first-year player draft. And then 2 years later, in the R.A. Dickey trade, came along with John Buck and Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher. And what a trade that turned out to be for the Mets. He made his New York and Major League debut last season. 24 starts, 9-game winner.
Well, you know, it's almost by accident that the Mets ended up with Syndergaard instead of the player that they wanted. When they traded a Cy Young Award winner in R.A. Dickey to Toronto, they wanted, the main guy they wanted in that deal was a right-handed pitcher named Aaron Sanchez, a #1 draft pick that they had in the 2010 draft.
Short left field, coming on hard, Conforto, and there's 2 away.
At the time of the trade, Aaron Sanchez was a higher rated prospect than was Noah Syndergaard. But the Toronto Blue Jays said, no, we can't give away Sanchez. We don't want to trade him. So the Mets said, well, what about Syndergaard instead? And they said, okay. So sometimes your plan B is better than your plan A.
And of course, you always wonder at the end of the day, was somebody maybe playing with a poker face?
And you always wonder at the end of the day whether the story that I just got, and I repeated it verbatim from a pretty good source, was actually given to that source in a true way. So you really never know what goes on behind the doors.
Sure.
But it sure sounds like a good story.
Well, we know he's a mighty fine pitcher, and he has set down the Reds 1-2-3 in the top of the first. So now it's Raisel Iglesias' turn to try and answer as the Mets come to bat in a moment. Young turning 67 in about a month. Grew up in Midland, Michigan, and graduated from Eastern Michigan University in 1971. What a job he's done here with the Mets. Let's take a look at his lineup tonight. Granderson in right, David Wright at third. Conforto, they think he's a future batting champion out in left field. Due to the first baseman, the former Pirate Walker at second, the former Indian Cabrera at short. De Aza for the injured Cespedes in center. D'Arnaud catching Syndergaard, and on the mound, the Reds' ace, Raisel Iglesias.
But he's the ace because he's been the most consistent pitcher up here. And, of course, the pitching staff will change shortly when Homer Bailey gets healthy enough to pitch at the big league level, when Anthony DeSclafani comes around. But right now it is all about Iglesias. And the biggest thing, I think, for Raisel tonight is to not watch Noah Syndergaard. You don't want to get sucked into the competition of trying to throw harder than Thor. Just stick with your own game. Change speeds, pitch both sides of the plate, drop down on right-handers when you throw your slider, and take a deep breath when you have to because you're in the Big Apple.
And, of course, Thor, the nickname of Syndergaard, and you can understand why when you see those flowing locks. Well, that's good morning, good afternoon, and good night to Curtis Granderson.
You know, the breaking ball that Raisel Iglesias throws can be equally effective against lefties and righties. Against left-handers, he stays on top a little bit more, and he gets a break that is more like a 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock break. You get that downward depth right there, and lefties will swing right over the top of it.
Well, the Mets are coming off a road trip where they absolutely knocked the cover off the ball. 9 games, they won 7 of the 9. Their on-base percentage was nearly .350. They hit better than 2 home runs per game on the trip. Now they are without one of their big boppers, not one of their biggest bopper, in Cespedes, who's been out the last 3 days, and again tonight. And it's interesting to find out really what is wrong with Cespedes. There are some that say he's injured his hip. There are other reports that he injured his knee. The 33-year-old captain of the Mets is David Wright. Of course, a shadow of the former star. He suffers from spinal stenosis and limited to just 38 games a season ago. Well, what an outstanding player he has been for a long, long time.
Well, Terry Collins has him in the number 2 hole. That's one of the biggest shifts in this lineup so far. Throughout his very nice major league career, David Wright has always been number 3, 4, or 5. Kind of the right-handed enforcer on whatever team he's been on.
And that is back-to-back strikeouts for Raisel Iglesias.
Well, he's going to that first base side of home plate again. Scouts will call it your glove side, and that is a little backdoor fastball that starts off the plate. Wright gives up on it, and it catches the corner. Nice going.
Now, look, there aren't a lot of Yankee fans that are Mets fans and vice versa, but there are a lot of New Yorkers that just love baseball. And if they're watching the game here locally tonight, especially the Yankee fans, if they're just tuned into the Mets for a few minutes tonight, because the Yankees aren't playing for an hour down in Texas, Iglesias will remind a lot of them, as he does when we initially saw him, of the former Yankee great Orlando El Duque Hernandez.
You're right. His delivery very much like El Duque. His size a little more like Pedro Martinez. And the way he shifts his arm angle up and down a little bit like Bronson Arroyo.
Swing and a miss. Keith Hernandez, the longtime great major league player, and for many, many years now has been a television broadcaster for the Mets. Told us before the game tonight he believes Conforto will win a batting title one day. Hernandez on the left, former Mets pitcher Ron Darling in the middle. And this one is blasted to right center, 1-0 New York.
Well, they're trying to get that fastball inside. You saw where Mesoraco is set up, and it just drifted right back over the plate. Third home run of the year for Michael Conforto.
They moved him into the number 3 spot in the batting order 9 games ago. All 3 of his home runs, 8 of his RBIs, and a .330 batter. Duda loops one into right a hit. Let's take a look at the Reds on defense tonight, presented by Ford. With Jay Bruce out, DUVALL will start in right for the first time. Schebler out in left and Billy Hamilton back in the lineup, first time in 6 days. The regular group along the infield, Suarez and Votto on the corners, Cozart and Phillips up the middle, and a battery of Iglesias and Mesoraco. Weissel barking at himself out there on the mound. He is none too happy.
Well, I mean, you strike out the first 2 batters of the inning, you build some momentum, and you hang a pitch right down Broadway to the number 3 hitter, and that gives you cause to be angry at nobody else but yourself. Sometimes you just need to get it out of you. You've been there.
A lot. But always make it a point to get it out of me.
Glad to see you're nice and calm.
Very even. That's kind of like the old psychological tool where you brush, rake the sand, the little sandbox.
Well, hitters do that in the batter's box.
They do?
Where they sweep their feet across the batter's box to kind of clean the slate.
Come on.
Well, you see them all do it. I mean, Neil Walker's doing it right now. And he may not know that, but I mean, whether he does it consciously or subconsciously, I imagine some players probably know it, but I've been told by, physicians who specialize in that it's a way that you're subconsciously like cleaning the whiteboard or cleaning the board. So you start anew.
Going first to third is Duda on the base hit by Walker, so back-to-back strikeouts. Then a home run by Conforto, singles by Duda and Walker to continue the New York first.
Well, this lineup that the Mets are running out there can be very dangerous to a right-handed pitcher. You see how many left-handers are up there. Walker's a switch hitter. The batter coming up now, Cabrera, is a switch hitter. Walker's a much better hitter left-handed than he is right-handed. And what looked like was going to be a nice, easy inning is put some stressful pitches on the right arm of Iglesias.
All right, 1 out to get, however. We'll keep it at a 1-0 game. And here is a former Indian, Tampa Bay last year, Asdrubal Cabrera, former All-Star with the Tribe. And this is a roller that'll end. Will it?
Out of the baseline.
Out of the baseline, he's out. Worth a try. So the Mets get the long ball from Conforto. They strand 2. Give you one more look at Cabrera trying to get out of the way. 1-0 New York. board at the Mets defensively. We talked about De Aza, the longtime Chicago White Sox outfielder, filling in for Cespedes in center. Everybody else, a regular cast of characters that start day in and day out for the Mets. Now remember, they lost their big postseason hero, Daniel Murphy. He's tearing it up with the Washington Nationals right now. Well, they brought in Neil Walker. And Walker's been terrific.
You know, one of the interesting things as you look at Noah Syndergaard is that he is among like a new wave of pitchers that are essentially scrapping the old-fashioned delivery. This is a modified stretch position that he goes into right here. And it's already caused some problems in Major League Baseball.
Does Brandon have another hit in this ballpark? You better believe he does. Brandon Phillips has now hit safely in each of his 33 career road games against the New York Mets, including all 23 of his appearances here at Citi Field. That's the longest hitting streak of any ball player in this park.
A perfect placement in that 5.5 hole there between the shortstop and third baseman. Cabrera actually makes it fairly close at first base, considering he fielded that ball in shallow left field.
Phillips moving into 33 in a row. Now the longest hitting streaks going all the way back over 100 years against any opponent on the road. The great Joe Medwick against the Dodgers hitting 46 in a row. That is the gold standard. Well, Phillips at 33 in a row. 5th all time of any hitting streak against any opponent consecutively on the road. Pretty impressive. Mercy. That is some serious heat.
You know, and we say the same thing about Syndergaard that we say about Aroldis Chapman, because he's 6 feet 6 inches tall and he gets a nice long stride towards home plate. He's closer to home plate when he releases the ball than most pitchers.
Phillips got an incredible jump. Mesoraco fouled it off.
So not only is Syndergaard throwing harder than other pitchers, but he has to throw it a shorter distance. Guy throws that hard, you ought to move him back 5 feet.
And level the mound.
Well, here's what his repertoire consists of if you want to put it to numbers. Averaging 98.4 on the fastball, slider at 92.5. And the other pitches are pretty much icing on the cake.
Well, you saw the changeup speed. That is actually higher than guys like Felix Hernandez, Madison Bumgarner, Zach Greinke with their fastballs the early part of this season. Now that will probably change.
Well, again, you know, between your slowest and your fastest, you want to have some separation. Now, if he does have a shortcoming, it's keeping runners close to first base. Last year, and I was only 22 years old last year, but he gave up 15 stolen bases. Mets catchers threw out 1. This year, 4 up, 1 caught.
And Phillips, we mentioned a moment ago, he could have crawled to second base with a jump he had. There he goes again. And again, he'll make the U-turn and come on back. Brandon getting a workout right from the get-go here tonight.
This is really where Mesoraco could give Brandon a break and take a couple extra seconds getting back in the batter's box.
Brandon going again. And that is a fair ball off the glove of Wright. I mean, he made a nice play just to get the glove on it, because if that trickles down the third base line, it's second and third and nobody out.
Oh, Brandon running on the pitch. That may have been a run knocked in by Mesoraco had he not been able to flag it down even a little bit. So the Reds have a couple of singles, infield hits. But the table's set now for somebody who is swinging a pretty good bat.
Sure is. Adam Duvall, the team leader with 6 doubles, co-leader now with Cozart in that category. 2 home runs, 5 batted in. So let's see if the Reds can dent the scoreboard against this powerful young Texan.
Now, Adam Duvall told me before the game, we were talking about Syndergaard decision. I faced him a lot back in AA and in AAA. Because quite frankly, we got him a lot back in those days. He may be a little more polished now. Obviously, he was still overpowering back then. But you've got to hunt the fastball.
You know, it's interesting. You go back and look at one of his seasons, and it might be the very one that Duvall is referring to. That's strike 2. I mean, with the stuff you're looking at Syndergaard, I mean, like Chris mentioned, his stuff is better now than it was then. But he had a year in Las Vegas. Hard to pitch there, granted. But in 133 innings, he gave up 154 hits. And yes, I mean, that's not even a word in the vocabulary in that town. Of course, we're in the city that never sleeps right now. So he went from one to the other. That's when Duvall was playing in the Giants minor league system. And so they would play him a lot, with the Mets AAA team being in Las Vegas. Ball and 2 strikes, 2 on, none out. And Phillips certainly taking some attention away from the batter. And Syndergaard has to back off the rubber. Would you think about stealing third?
Well, with nobody out, probably not. Not on a 1-2 count. Walker has moved over a little bit closer to the bag here to try to jockey Phillips back. But the good news is it seems like Brandon Phillips is in his head. And here's a guy that doesn't pitch very many innings with runners on base, much less second base. And he gives up hits. They are singles.
He's not surrendered a home run in his first 21 innings this year.
There's the slider.
It's hard to believe it. 92-mile-per-hour slider.
I just got to figure that a guy like Syndergaard, although he is the exception to the rule now, you're going to be seeing more and more of this style of pitcher in the years to come.
Chase ball 3, and that's the second strikeout of the night for Noah Syndergaard. 1 out.
A perfect placement right here, because when it comes out of the hand of Noah Syndergaard, it appears like it's going to be a strike, only to be just a little bit off the plate. I mean, best you can hope for there is a foul tick.
Well, remember now, with Billy Hamilton back in the lineup, the pitcher is batting in the 8-hole, which means Iglesias is on deck. So that magnifies the importance of this at bat for Scott Schebler. Maybe we see Phillips try and get to third base early in this count. Not running here, and it's ball 1. Now you can make the argument, you double steal here, you open up first. Syndergaard's not going to intentionally walk Scott Schebler.
I agree.
Phillips is definitely in his head.
Yeah.
Well, he got caught right in between sort of starting and stopping there, he being Phillips.
Well, what Syndergaard is not able to do with Brandon so far out there is what you're supposed to do every time, is make the runner stop before you go to the plate. He really doesn't look back at second base very much.
Shortstop creeping in behind Brandon here. Fastball off the inside corner at 99 miles per hour. We mentioned that Syndergaard has thrown more pitches this year at 100 miles per hour or more than all pitchers in baseball combined. 3 times as many. And again, we have the caveat of reminding you that Aroldis Chapman is still suspended and has not pitched this year for the Yankees. Phillips going. Pitch taken and no throw. Brandon is third of the year.
Well, Syndergaard was giving him really as much opportunity as he could possibly give him in stealing third base. Brandon had a big lead, really had a little kind of a kick step going towards third. Mesoraco did not make it to second.
Well, we know Schebler has tremendous power. This is a hitter's count here, 3-1. Will he get something to drive? He pops it up. This will not bring in the run. 2 outs in the inning. And now the pitcher coming up. So let's see if Iglesias somehow, some way could get that run in from third. It's strike 1 on the outside corner. Rysel, nothing of 8 so far as a batter this year. Back-to-back infield hits by Phillips and Mesoraco started the inning. Slap that ball short, quick swing, but too tardy to put it in fair ground. How about that? Pretty nice piece of hitting by Iglesias, and were it not for the first baseman holding the runner on, who knows? 2 hits, 2 left. Reds trail 1-0. traction, this Mets offense. You know, they started the year quite slowly. They were averaging just a little more than 2 runs a game, batting average of under 200. Then, Chris, we talked about the 7-2 road trip, the final game before that road trip at home, hitting .290, scoring almost 6 a game, and whopping 23 home runs in those 10 games. Even I can figure that's more than 2 a game. Now, Brian Price has been out talking to Jerry Davis, the second base umpire. He's a crew chief. And the home plate umpire, Sam Holbrook, this entire inning break. Any guess on that at all?
Have no idea. Maybe they want a birth certificate from Syndergaard. You know how you bring the biggest kid on your team in, and he completely dominates. He plays center and he scores 40 points. And the other coach says, we can't believe that kid's really 12 years old. Where's his birth certificate?
Well, if you remember, it was right here. The greatest controversy maybe ever in the history of the Little League World Series, Danny Almonte.
Yes, you're right. And as it turned out, he wasn't as he was said to be.
Alejandro De Aza had some decent moments during his career with the Chicago White Sox. And their strike, 3-1. Invited to spring training and had a great spring. And earned his way onto this Mets roster. Now 31 years old. He bangs that one by a sliding Votto into right field to hit.
Well, he hit it hard, no question about it. The question was, did Joey Votto have to dive backwards in order to field that ball, or just step maybe one step to his right and get his body in front of it?
Well, they're glad to have this guy back now. He only played in 67 games a season ago. And he's a good player. We brought up earlier, he came along with Syndergaard from the Toronto Blue Jays. Slow to get started with a bat. I mean, he's not Mike Piazza.
They really like him behind the plate. Catches a good game, frames a lot of pitches, works with the pitchers well.
Well, you know what? Last year, Chris, in those 67 games, he still gave you some pretty good offense. I mean, in 67 games, he knocked in 41 runs. He had 12 home runs, 14 doubles. The year before, in 100-plus games, 13 homers, 22 doubles. He's not a stiff.
Well, and he'll be around here for a while. They feel like he will be the catcher of the present and the catcher of the future. In the starting 8, other than Syndergaard, who just turned 23 years old, there are only 2 players in this Mets lineup that are younger than 30. Darno is one of them. He's 27. And, of course, Michael Conforto is 23. Everybody else is a 30-something.
That is a fair ball. Mesoraco will throw him out. De Aza to second base. Pitcher coming up, 1 out in the inning. The Washington Nationals play in the National League East, and right now they have the best record in all the National League at 14-4. The Mets, are defending NL East champion, come in at 10 up, 7 down. Syndergaard not a bad hitter. Any pitcher up around the 200 mark. Not too bad. Breaking ball in there, a strike.
Well, the Mets won 90 games last year to nail down first place in the National League East. That would not have gotten them a wild card bid. Had they not played in this division last year, they would have been watching everything, including the World Series in which they were in, on TV.
Of course, in the NL Central, you had both wild cards. Cardinals won 100 to win the division. Pirates won 98. Cubbies won 97. And of course, they dominated the Cubs 4-1 in the NLCS.
You know, and that was after being 0 for 7 against the Cubs in the regular season last year. So they turned it around completely on the Cubs.
Nothing in 2. And really last year was the completion of a 5-year turnaround under the leadership of Sandy Alderson, who became the general manager in 2010. Of course, he was the architect of so many of those great Oakland Athletics teams going back to the late 80s. You know, I misspoke there a moment ago. When I said 5 games, they lost the World Series in 5.
They did.
They swept the Cubs in the LCS.
Yeah, the tight series they had was when they beat the Dodgers in 5 games, 3-2. That was their first postseason play since 2006.
And there's strike 3. Great movement on that fastball. And that's a 3rd strikeout for Rysel. Hey, look, he's a strikeout pitcher in his own right now. He's our steel power tool performer. In their first 20 career starts, only Gary Nolan, as a Red, struck out more batters than did Rysel Iglesias. Mario Soto 4th on that list. And of course, Tony Cingrani, I mean, he was averaging better than 10 strikeouts a game when he came up. So now Granderson, who struck out on 3 pitches his first time up.
And that's where they pitched him his first time, is inside off the plate. Granderson swung at a couple of marginal pitches. You don't want to let him get his arms extended. Even though he's a left-hander, he's got good plate coverage on the outer side. Three-time All-Star, signed through 2017. 35-year-old Curtis Granderson.
Good player, man. For a
Always
long, sometimes
been, yeah.
Great player. He's had a great career. It's going to be we'll see if it's an infield hit or an error. It is a base hit.
Now, normally when balls go through the middle, even if it looks like it's a playable ball by the pitcher, the scorer is going to give a base hit. We did not see that as the case yesterday when Alfredo Simon was charged with an error on a very difficult play. But normally through the box, you get a base hit. That's a lot of times why batting coaches are trying to get you to hit the ball through the box. You're hitting the ball at the worst fielder in the infield.
And the one with by far and away, by light years, reaction time, even if it's not hit all that hard. Okay, runners on the corners after the infield hit. And here's David Wright. He struck out in the first inning. Mets lead 1-0. Breaking ball and a beauty by Iglesias. beat him with a fastball away to get ahead 0-2. David Wright, born and raised, still makes his home in Norfolk, Virginia. Came up to the Mets in 2004, #1 pick in 2001. When he first came up, some of the years he had, among the very best third basemen in all of baseball. His first full year, hit over 300, knocked in 102. The next year, 311 batter, knocked in 116. All of these years, by the way, 40 or more doubles. Next year, 325 batter, 107 knocked in. Drove in 124 runs in 2008. But after 2010, he's had a very hard time staying on the field. The lone exception was in 12 when he played 156 games. Brought up earlier, only 38 a year ago, when he was officially diagnosed with that spinal stenosis. Inning over. 2 hits, 2 left. 1-0 New York. We go to the third.
Ohio. I'm Jim Day. You know the saying of so hard that bad boy might leave a mark. Well, Mets catchers know that firsthand when you catch Noah Syndergaard. Check this out from an earlier game. Kevin Plawecki is the second catcher for the Mets, and earlier this season he caught Syndergaard and blocked a ball that hit him right on a cross necklace he was wearing, and it actually left an imprint on his chest. Now this photo courtesy of Steve Gelbs, an SNY reporter. And that, gentlemen, was after the ball hit the dirt first. And those of the faith might say, well, it's just a sign that you're blessed to catch Noah Syndergaard.
Jim Day's on top of it all.
I'll tell you, you got to be tough to play that position. And he is on top of it.
Every day, Jim Day. Bunted. You can't flip it in the air any better than that for Billy Hamilton. His first start in nearly a week, and a bunt single to start things, and you know he's off to the races.
What a weapon if you could figure out a way to do that, say 5 out of 10 times, or even 5 out of 20 times. I mean, you just take well, you grind your bat down like a sandwich, I guess.
Well, you know, you bring up a great point, Chris. 5 out of 20.
Yeah.
And now it's a .250 batting average, right? I mean, would they take that out of Billy Hamilton right now? Mix in some walks and some other hits along the way? You better believe they would.
I asked him before the game. It's kind of interesting. I said, do you pull bunt very much? Do you drag bunt, which is what they call that when you go to the right side? He goes, no, I haven't really done that much because they haven't given me the opportunity. Right-handed, that is. The only time he pushed the ball to first base, if you remember.
Don't even throw the ball down there.
No, it was Josh Harrison of the Pittsburgh Pirates who came in really fast and fielded that ball from the second base spot. Yeah, if Syndergaard thought he had a problem with Brandon Phillips, he ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, third's about to be his in a minute, unless he just falls over.
What is the first year in not-hole where you're allowed to steal? Is that
too early?
Is that C1?
4th grade.
And you know, runner gets to first base and 2 pitches later he's on third.
Every runner that gets on first, if they can run, they will be standing at third base for at least 3 years. Little League does it far better as far as the rule is concerned.
Now you got to ask yourself, though, is Billy Hamilton's value of getting into the head of Syndergaard more valuable at second base? Or would Syndergaard put him to rest once he gets to third? Of course, he could dance down the line at third, too, maybe cause a balk.
I just saw Jacoby Ellsbury steal third. There goes Hamilton. Forget it. Unless he slides by the bag and you stay with the tag, which almost appeared to happen there. There's just no way the Mets are going to throw this guy out. Not with this pitcher on the mound.
Now remember that it is his thumb, his left thumb, that is giving him the problem. And I believe Billy's got that little cover on his left hand to make sure he doesn't jam that thumb anymore. Now I don't know how much it helps the thumb. Is it taped down?
No, he's just holding it.
Yeah.
All right, so now a chance to tie this baby up. 2 balls and a strike on Zach Kozart.
And Hamilton can get as far down the third baseline as David Wright is off the bag. That's your measure. So if Wright's 10 feet off the bag, Hamilton can go 10 feet down the line.
Straight away center field, hit a ton by Kozart. This will tie the game. Boy, speed can do it. Bunt, single, steal, second, steal, third, fly ball, knocks you in. It's a 1-1 game. Well done.
Well, Zach Kozart more than happy to oblige by taking a few pitches in that at bat to put that runner at third base.
I know we say it all the time. I know every Reds fan that's watching right now, they see Hamilton do what he just did in this inning, and you just say, man, if he can just get to that point of getting on more frequently. Especially Chris at the top of the order. Suarez is second out.
Well, it worked out right the way that Brian Price penned in the lineup tonight, where you have Hamilton in the number 9 spot. He leads off the third inning. You know, the more you bunt, the more you're successful at, the more you want to do it. If you try it a few times, if the first 10 times you try in the season, you're over, you're reluctant to go back to it. So you can call it lucky or not that he popped it in the air, perfect placement, but hey, you'll take it every day.
Better believe it. Votto tapped out to right his first time up.
This is the matchup, you know, coming into this game. You know, Votto, the best hitter on the Reds team, not hitting great right now, we know that, but still, he is the best hitter on the Reds team against a guy like Syndergaard. Votto has a tendency to really ratchet up his game. It doesn't mean he's going to get a base hit or, you know, do anything special tonight, but from what we've seen in the past, Votto is always extra motivated when he's facing the best.
Well, Syndergaard's never won a Cy Young, but we gave you some of the numbers the other day about Votto and his career against Cy Young Award winners, and the numbers are staggering. He did not go around 2-2. If I remember right, wasn't that batting average like around 330, something like that?
I think it was 350.
350, pardon me.
Which is ridiculous.
And the OPS, on base plus slugging percentage, was second only all time against Cy Young Award winners to the Hall of Famer Ted Williams. Talking to himself before that second foot comes in the box, and now he wants timeout. And he points at the plane landing at nearby LaGuardia Airport.
Well, you got less time when there's a plane not going over the stadium to hit than when there is going over the stadium. So you better time it just right.
That must have looked like a plane going by. Receive a Star Wars X-Wing fighter Mr. Redlegs bobblehead thanks to Dynegy Energy Services. It's a big Star Wars weekend. You can be there for as low as $12. 381-REDS or visit Reds.com for more. Brewers will be in town. Next homestand's a good one. 3 against the Giants, 4 against Milwaukee, 3 against the Pirates. Billy Hamilton, a bunt, 2 stolen bases, and a fly ball is able to come in to tie this game 1-1. Mets bat in the bottom of the 3rd. Conforto homered to the deepest part of right center field, his 3rd of the year, his first time up. And this one dumped into left field. And that's why I would imagine the guy who watches him every day, as we started to say before the home run has lasted back, Keith Hernandez. And boy, was he a good player. He believes this guy has a chance to win a batting title.
Yeah, that's really interesting that he would say that. Conforto, a lot of people liked him even when he was playing college at Oregon State. The Mets drafted him in the 1st round. He was the 10th pick overall in 2014. And he was one of the players that on this Mets team last year who had a tremendous second half. Really spurred them on. He and Cespedes together provided a lot of offense when he was called up in the second half of the season.
In fact, halfway through the season last year, the Mets were just kind of treading water around. You know, they were trailing the Washington Nationals. And then when the second half came around, they peeled off a record of 43-30 to end up winning the division.
You know, that's a good record. I think you and I would both agree. You know, you're 13 games over 500. And oh, boy. Into deep right center field. Goodbye, Lucas Duda. Well, this guy's a Reds killer, man. Duda last year had 3 home runs and 14 runs batted in against Reds pitching. And they only played 6 times. Remember, he had a couple grand slams. Mets. But, you know, I was trying to say about 43 and 30, solid, over 70, no doubt about it. But it wasn't a streak like, say, the number we gave about the Cubs yesterday, where they were second half of the season, you know, almost 30 games over 500. Right.
Well, they had cooperation though, because the Nationals went 35 and 40.
That's what I was getting at. It was really as much to do with a complete meltdown for Washington. And of course, the Nationals made a managerial change. They let go Matt Williams and brought in the former Red manager, Cub manager, Giants manager, Johnny B. Dusty Baker. And they are off and running so far this year. Nationals are off tonight, and that's the first out of the inning.
Cabrera's had a nice career too. Big, tall shortstop, switch hitter. Many years with the Cleveland Indians. That signed him to a 3-year deal. Or I should say with a team option, 2-year with a team option. And he had a year in which, you know, there was a time when he was playing for the Cleveland Indians when he was right in the middle of that batting order, either batting second or third. Had 25 home runs in 2011. He has a good year this year. He can really pick up this ball club offensively.
And that's what they're counting on.
And another left-hander to give right-handers some problems.
They were very worried when he got hurt in spring training that he wasn't going to be ready to go for the regular year. And he said, no, I'm not going to have any part of that.
Boy, you know what you love about Iglesias, though? He still likes to pitch inside to lefties. I mean, he made a mistake to Duda, no question about it. Conforto got a pitch that ran out over the plate. You got to remember, even though he's 26 years old, he's still very young when it comes to major league pitching experience. But if you're going to get left-handers out as a right-handed pitcher, you better learn to pitch inside. And he is not afraid to do that one bit.
2-2. Got him swinging. 5th strikeout for Iglesias.
Look at the run on that fastball. You know, if you can't teach your kid to throw like Noah Syndergaard, teaching him a little movement is a nice backup plan.
And what happens when you get a combination of the two is you get Pedro Martinez.
Yeah. You get a plaque.
That's exactly right. In that town not all that far from here.
What is it, about 4 hours to drive to Cooperstown from here? You know, where I started my minor league career in Oneonta, New York, we were only 26 miles up Route 8 from Oneonta. But as we were reminded by our first-year coach, Art Mazmanian, the longest 26 miles on earth from rookie ball to the Hall of Fame.
He probably used that one a time or two, didn't he?
Yes.
Because you're talking about pitching inside. That's right on the corner to Diaz. He got a single on the right his first time up.
There are so many right-handers that just are afraid to come in there because when they miss out over the plate.
That'll hang up long enough for Schebler, and the inning is over. But a single by Conforto and a long one by Duda. Mets lead by a pair. News. He was in Cincinnati, as you know, during the homestand, and find out what Jack Billingham, former Reds great right-hander, is up to these days. Jeff Pecoro, Doug Flynn, Reds Weekly. That'll be Wednesday night at 6 on your home of Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio. (3-1) Mets lead. Reds scored in the third inning on a bunt single by Hamilton, who stole a pair of bases, and Cozart drove him in with a sac fly. Syndergaard is trying to do something tonight that only one pitcher in the history of baseball has ever done, and that's consecutive games to begin a season with 8 or more strikeouts, allowing 1 or fewer runs. You talked about a plaque in Cooperstown. There is one there as of last summer that belongs to the only man who's ever done it, Randy Johnson. That was with Seattle in '95.
Look at the other names on that list.
Yeah. Pedro twice. Schilling, Clemens, Feller. The only one that's not a Hall of Famer, obviously Syndergaard, but Schilling's not in. I would guess one day he'll get in. Good chance. And of course Clemens, I beg your pardon, he'll have to wait a while. Old foul.
Is that twice in a row that he's banged the ball off probably the same spot?
You might be right.
That one off the toe. That was the first one. And then, as it always happens, you do it again. This time up the leg a little bit.
Two different spots. Wow. Got to figure out which one hurts the least. Focus on that.
And of course, Syndergaard probably like to come right back down and in there again. Well, did him a favor with the slider. Maybe he's not as cold-hearted as I thought he was.
Well, when you have a nickname like Thor, aren't you supposed to be a cold-hearted Viking?
I would think so. I mean, I like the way David Wright described Noah Syndergaard as a video creation.
That got him. He comes high and tight and hit him. It looks like on the hand.
You can hear it all the way up here.
Yep.
Oh my.
It was 98 miles per hour, and the first thing that Steve Bauman, the lead trainer, is trying to figure out is where did it get him.
He got out there in a hurry. Bauman did. They're asking Brandon to move his fingers. He says, I'm not moving them.
He is in tremendous pain. Brandon Phillips has never been one of those guys that goes down and, sort of milks it for all it's worth. He is turning around and headed straight to the clubhouse, and they have X-ray machines here at the ballpark, which is, I'm sure, his next stop. We're in the fifth deck, and Chris, you pointed out we could hear it all the way up here. That gives you a look, perhaps the best of any, at the reaction time when a guy's throwing 98 miles per hour. If and when we hear anything naturally from the Reds clubhouse, we will let you know ASAP. Yolande Jesus will come on and run, and certainly stay in the game to play second for Phillips. Off the end of the bat, may have broken his bat. And Mesoraco retired for the first out. We know DeJesus is not what you would call a burner, but I'm not sure you have to be labeled that way to steal a base against Syndergaard.
No, I think you just have to be aggressive. It was funny. I went over to talk to Keith Hernandez a little bit between innings, and we talked about Billy Hamilton and Brandon Phillips stealing bases on Syndergaard. He said, you know, there are no teams around anymore like the old Cardinal teams that I was played on. We had 5 guys on that team that would run at will. You know, Ozzie Smith, Vince Coleman, Tommy Herr,
Willie McGee.
And there was another one as well. And he said pitchers never got a rest. He says these guys nowadays wouldn't know how to react if you had a team of rabbits like that. I mean, if you have a delivery like Syndergaard and you get a speedster on, it should be automatically to second base. Because he has really not adjusted his delivery one bit to slide step or to keep any runners close. So you got to take advantage of whatever he gives you, and that's right now the only thing he gives you.
Well, the Reds have the 3rd most stolen bases of all teams in the National League. In fact, after the 3 tonight, they are now 2nd in the National League, 2nd only to the Arizona Diamondbacks. There are only, of the 16 teams in the National League, there are only 5 that have 10 or more stolen bases through the first 3 weeks of this season. Duvall struck out his first time up. Syndergaard has 3 of those. He's hit a batter, and he's allowed a run on 3 hits. Slider gets through, and that'll advance DeJesus in a scoring position and even a count 2-2 on Duvall. That'll be a wild pitch.
Well, Syndergaard struck out Adam Duvall his last time out on a low outside fastball. He just missed with the slider there. You still got to be thinking fastball and try to adjust to a slider if you possibly can. You can never do it the opposite way around. Maybe run into one right here.
Team with a slider again. I think Syndergaard felt like that Duvall was getting some pretty good swings on his fastball. So he doubles up.
4 of them now in the book. That's a good slider. I mean, look at it like this. A 92-mile-an-hour fastball with that kind of movement. I think there have been some relievers that have thrown their slider, you know, in the low to mid. Joe Nathan comes to mind as a guy that for a while was really throwing his slider hard. Rob Dibble the same way, if you want to go back that far. But he is in slim company territory when you're talking about starters.
And then he pulls a string at 91 on it on a changeup.
You know, just think if he could figure out a way to deaden that ball to the point where it would come out at, say, 81. He might hurt some people that way.
You're right. This is a pitching-rich New York Mets starting rotation. So young. All of them, with the exception of the guy we'll see here tomorrow night, the ageless one, Bartolo Colon, but everybody else. You take away Colon, the other guys in the rotation, Matz, Harvey, Syndergaard, DeGrom. The earliest one of them could hit the free agent market would be 2019. There was a changeup that he left out over the plate, but that Shem was so far out in front at 89 miles per hour. There's DeGrom, just activated from a disabled list, and thankfully there's a little baby that was in intensive care. I guess still is, but they feel quite good about the future. So thank God for that. I mean, he was gone just like that from this New York team naturally. We will not see him in a series. We will see Matt Harvey. He will pitch Wednesday night. Jesus at second, 2 outs. Reds batting in the fourth, trailing by a pair. 3-2 to Scott Schebler. Slider on a 3-2 pitch to get him swinging. 5 in the game for Syndergaard. Mets lead 3-1. Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's Hospital, ranking 3rd in the country on U.S. News Best Children's Hospitals in America. Special hello, as always, to those watching over at Cincinnati Children's. Certainly hope you've had a great day today, even better one tomorrow. We played 3.5, game 1 of 3 between the Reds and the Mets. And New York a 2-run lead. Brandon Phillips having to leave the game after getting hit on the left hand by a Noah Syndergaard 98-mile-per-hour fastball. He is replaced running and now defensively by De Jesus. 3-0. Syndergaard to follow, and then Curtis Granderson. Reds got a home run by Conforto in the first, 2-run home run from Lucas Duda in the third. 3-0 green light. Mercy. 1 out. Thank you very much.
Have a number 8 hitter. Well, I mean, Iglesias has not shown, you know, an inability to throw strikes. So maybe you're figuring if you want to get a fastball on a 4-seamer that's not moving all over the place, 3-0 is probably your best shot. Some hitters just abhor hitting with a 3-0 count. And they say that, well, I'll get the same pitch on a 3-1 count that I'll get on a 3-0 count. In most cases, they're right. Yeah, with Jay Bruce going on the maternity list, the Reds brought up a pitcher to take his place while he's away for those 3 days. And isn't it the fact that the luck even goes worse for the Reds that they injure an everyday player and they don't have an extra player on the bench, they actually have an extra pitcher in the bullpen.
Lane Thompson brought up, and they had to make room for him on the 40-man roster, so they moved Michael Lorenzen to the 60-day disabled list. So after going 3-0 on the first batter and swinging away to get a ground out, Iglesias then walks the pitcher. His first walk of the night.
Time for him to take a little mental time out, because that's all that was a mental hiccup. You go 2-0 to the opposing pitcher, it's time to go back and play with the rosin, retie your shoe a little bit, get yourself out of a negative frame of mind.
Anderson waiting on the Reds to, boy, you talk about moving guys around. That is Suarez, who is actually playing in between Votto, the first baseman, and De Jesus, the second baseman. And remember, Suarez is the third baseman. We've seen teams shift, but more times than not, they'll have Suarez where De Jesus is.
Yeah, the team that we see, or at least have seen do that in the very beginning, was the Pittsburgh Pirates, who became the shiftiest team in the National League when they started doing that. But they moved the third baseman over there because they didn't want to have more than one player out of position.
In the air to center, and that's out number 2 here in the fourth. David Wright has struck out looking, struck out swinging, 0 for 2. Rather odd schedule tonight in the National League. You have one interleague game, Boston playing in Atlanta. That one is already in the 6th inning of a scoreless game. Cozart a diving play, and he'll get the force out to end the inning. 1 out walk, no damage. We go to the 5th. Mets lead 3-1.
Chris Welsh talk about maybe the perfect video game type pitcher. David Wright agrees. Check out this quote that he had earlier. When he used to play video games as a kid, if you build the player that you want to build and put all the abilities up to like max 10, he's that guy. And no question, you try to build a pitcher like that on particularly the old video games. And gentlemen, he also names his gloves. He's got a glove named Lion. My personal favorite, Drago, because they said when he was growing up he looked like Ivan Drago of Rocky IV fame. One called Heisenberg, and we believe tonight he's using the common one, Thor. Indeed.
Well,
that is his big nickname.
He names them after his favorite TV shows and or movie characters. So all those guys you just mentioned. He has another one named Rick Grimes. Now I'm not a big zombie, sort of fan thing, but that's from The Walking Dead, right?
Okay.
Jim Day, you're a big guy on that, right?
Indeed, I'm not. But I do.
You're not.
No Walking Dead here. But I look like it sometimes. Some would say that I look like it on
you
camera.
may have last night after having dinner with Cowboy.
That's another story. Heisenberg is presumably the Bryan Cranston alter ego on the show Breaking Bad.
Yes. He has one. Did you say Jon Snow?
No.
That's from Game of Thrones. You said Lion. We know about Thor, Rick Grimes, among others. Lysell to lead things off. And I know Jim Day will be all over that Brandon Phillips situation. And Jim can't go walking back up into the tunnel or into the clubhouse. He's stationed right next to the Reds dugout. And that is his 6th strikeout of the game for Noah Syndergaard. Let's go back to Billy's only time up tonight.
He made the most of it when he did get up. He popped a little bunt up between first and the pitcher's mound, and it dropped right in there with a little backspin, and then he stole second base. And it came around to third, all the while Zach Cozart was in the batter's box. He took a fly ball from Cozart to deliver a sacrifice fly, the only run of the game for the Reds.
At 98 miles per hour that moves Hamilton not only off the plate, but then all the way to the other side of the batter's box.
Yeah, that's kind of reminiscent of Nolan Ryan, who, if you ever went to the plate against Ryan and squared to bunt or laid down a bunt, and you were a young player in the major leagues, you could expect one maybe even more inside than the one that Billy Hamilton just danced out of the way of. And he'd come off the mound and stare at you. Because that was in a different era. But Syndergaard trying to get that message across. I don't think that was a a mistake pitch at all by Syndergaard. That had some intention behind it. There aren't all that many pitchers that can be intimidating. Syndergaard might be on the short list.
This time Hamilton on the ground to the second baseman Walker for the second out of the inning. You know, Jim was talking about the Jim, forgive me if you mentioned that what he does with these gloves at the end of the year, you said he auctions them off for charity, right?
He indeed does, which is a tremendous thing to do. Obviously.
Yeah, and it's for a disease, and I can't pronounce the name of it. I'm not even going to try. But it's a disease that his mother suffers from, to raise money.
Well, you got to think how quickly he has come such a long way, because in 2014, when he was pitching with Las Vegas, he had a 9-7 record and an earned run average over 4.5.
That was the year I was talking about. He was getting hit around.
Although he did lead the league in strikeouts.
Bare hand to end the inning. That is the second perfect inning of the night for Syndergaard. He leads by 2.
Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, if you can't watch your Reds games on television, you can now bring them along on your mobile device. Go to your app store, download the free Fox Sports Go app, log in, and stream the Reds wherever you go. Streaming tonight from Flushing, New York, outside of Manhattan, right next to where they play the U.S. Open Tennis Championships. Same site of the old Shea Stadium, or right next to where it was. They really did a nice job of this ballpark. Very pitcher friendly. Before last year, they moved the fences in a little bit to make it, you're never going to even it out. But certainly, you know, the Mets have taken advantage, hitting more home runs last year. And they're off on an incredible home run binge so far this year. Most of it on the road, but they've played most of their games on the road.
Well, the next two hitters in the order, Conforto, who is at the plate now, and Duda have already gone deep tonight. They do hit them.
And in the old ballpark, or the old configuration of this ballpark, more accurately, I'm not sure either one of those would have been a home run.
Maybe Conforto's, because it landed in the front row.
Yeah, you're right.
It would have been a front row, first row seat. But I'm not so sure that Duda, who really launched his high, would have been deep enough.
It's a long run for Duvall, and unable to get it. Is that a fair ball? It is a fair ball. It's a ground rule double. Suarez unable to get there. Actually, it looked like he was there.
Well, it looked like it had some spin on it off the bat of a left-hander. Was kind of went into foul territory and then came spinning back into fair territory. You can tell by the way this ball hits and bounces directly left. Right inside the line, fair ball all the way.
Suarez had a similar kind of play, you may remember, over the weekend against the Chicago Cubs. It's his first year as a third baseman. You have to give him a little bit of wiggle room for that. Duda homered his last time up.
He went down and got a fastball and really launched it big time, hit it way up in the air, and there was a mistake pitch that readily angered Raisel Iglesias. But hitting home runs for the Mets has become commonplace this year. They are third in the National League in the most home runs per game hit.
And you got to remember, most of that has been done since the first week of the season.
And the Reds are 15th in the league, or worst in the league, in giving up the most home runs per game. So you've got a combination of a team that hits a lot and a team that gives up a lot.
I showed you earlier, the Mets, their first homestand, did nothing offensively. They hit under 200. The entire homestand, they hit 2 home runs. They've hit 23 going into tonight. Now make it 25 in their last 11+ games. Reds again play the shift on the left-handed batting Duda, and this will advance a runner. They'll get the out at first base, or do they? Yes, Votto kept a toe on the bag. It's a nice stretch play there by Votto. And advancing on to third is Conforto.
Duda gets a breaking ball in the outer part of the plate, and he makes Zach Kozar go way to his right, and Votto stretch out to be able to get the runner at first base. And while we're talking about home runs, you got to talk about Neil Walker. 7 home runs in the month of April, more than any month he's ever hit, and as a second baseman. The only Mets with 7 or more home runs in a month. Listen to this list: Jeff Kent, Dave Kingman in 1976, Carlos Delgado in 2006, and John Buck in 13. But I forgot that Carlos Delgado played second base and Dave Kingman played second base. At least that's the.
I think that's just the total number of home runs.
The total Mets with 7 or more.
Yes.
Yeah, Kingman never played second base. King Kong did a lot of things.
Yeah.
But that wasn't one of them.
And this one hooked down the right field line, and it's foul. Good thing. Well, you mentioned that name, Jeff Kent. Man, what a player he turned into after he left here.
Yeah.
He had some of the greatest offensive seasons of any second baseman of all time once he went to the Giants. League MVP. 1-1. Out of play now, 1-2. You know what's interesting? I found interesting. You're talking about Walker. And we've seen him a lot playing in the same division. You go back to the start of 2012, and he has more home runs than any second baseman in the National League.
I would never guess that.
I wouldn't have either. Now, Brandon Phillips was hurt one of those years, which is a primary reason why Walker has more. That strike 3 called. What a big pitch and a big out for Iglesias.
That's a gutsy pitch right there. Fearless to come inside with a fastball. Watch this baby run right back.
Walker knew it. Quicken Loans, rocket arms. Syndergaard v. Iglesias, each with 6 strikeouts. And Syndergaard right now in front 3-1. Long way to go. We're in the 5th. Here's Cabrera, runner at 3rd. Quicken Loans, that place will be rocking and rolling again here sometime soon whenever the Cavaliers get back at it. Sweeping the Pistons in the opening round of the NBA playoffs. It's not a bad way to get started. Some of you may have heard the report over the public address behind us in the booth. Great news from the Reds clubhouse. Apparently that pitch hit Brandon Phillips on his left ring finger. And the diagnosis is negative, no broken bones. That was a 98-mile-per-hour fastball that got him on the left ring finger. Less than a half of a second to react to a fastball from 60 feet 6 inches and 98 miles per hour. 2-1. 2-2. .92 pitches in this game for Iglesias. He has not had a perfect inning tonight. Runner at 3rd, 2 away, and the 2-2. We'll do it again. Quite a battle here, Cabrera and Iglesias. Is Rocco going to give Rysell a little bit of a breather? This will be the 8th pitch in this at bat. Ryan Price the one making the call to that Reds bullpen. A few bodies starting to move around out in right center field. Ball 3. Ever so close to hitting the 100 pitch mark. It looked like J.J. Hoover, who took off the jacket and started to make his way to the mound. That was just a quick glance.
I think it's J.C. Ramirez.
Okay. Saw a 6 there real quick and wasn't sure who it was. First number of the jersey.
Oh,
man.
And you can see why Iglesias is a little upset. And not a bad time really for Mark Riggins to come down, maybe settle him down a little bit.
We don't see Iglesias get, upset on the mound or show a lot of emotion on the mound. We've seen a little bit of that tonight.
Yeah.
When he allowed the home runs, a couple of calls by the umpire.
I think he understands the big stage of New York. I mean, he doesn't speak English, so we haven't been able to communicate a whole lot with him except through his interpreter that comes around with the ball club. But, he understands in New York the big stage here. He also understands Noah Syndergaard. I think he wanted to show everybody here that they don't forget about me.
It is J.C. Ramirez starting to crank it up. Made his Reds debut in such outstanding fashion on the just completed homestand. 0-1. Breaking ball caught the inside corner is strike. Towards the corner. And a foul ball off the bat of Diaz. Back with a fastball in on his hands at 91 miles per hour. 30 pitch inning here for Iglesias. And up over 100 now on the night.
Well, that's the one consistent thing that we have seen is the number of pitches the Reds pitchers starters have had to throw. Last series against the Cubs and now in this ball game against the Mets.
Swing and a miss, and what a nice job of pitching after a leadoff double off the bat of Conforto. 7 strikeout for Iglesias, but on the short end of a 3-1 game. at the Riverfront Club at Great American Ballpark, presented by Horseshoe Casino Cincinnati. All inclusive, great buffet, open bar, an entertainment hotspot featuring a 26-foot high definition video wall, 2 HD video columns. For tickets, visit reds.com and check it out. Very cool spot. Well, one would perhaps assume, Chris, I don't know, maybe you feel differently, that the night could be over for Iglesias, although J.C. Ramirez, for the time being, is probably already warmed up, wouldn't need much as we get through this top of the sixth to crank it back up again.
Well, we haven't seen him get any congratulatory, handshakes or anything like that. So they may leave him in the ballgame. I'm glad to see 100's not the automatic removal number. It's been a stressful 100 pitches, though. I mean, every time you turn around, it seems like he was getting out of trouble.
Well, the Mets have had a base runner every inning.
And the other thing, they're trying to take it fairly slowly with Iglesias.
Beautiful piece of hitting there by Suarez to begin the Red sixth.
They took him slow in spring training. Wanted to build up some shoulder strength, make sure he didn't get hurt early in the year. And I think they want to keep a close eye on what he's done. But I mean, 102 pitches? I don't know. I think it was Greg Maddux who said you don't really learn how to start pitching until you get to 100. That's when you have to start pitching.
All right, let's see if Otto can do something behind the leadoff single from Suarez. Reds down 3-1. Votto, the tying run at the plate, 0 for 2 so far tonight. And he's tardy on that fastball, and you can understand why. That time in 96, Votto a check swing grounder to David Wright.
Yeah, but you can look at his body language, and he's telling himself, how can you miss that pitch? It was in the zone where he likes to hit at the left field. You hit that pitch late anyway, and just when you're talking about being late, you're talking about, fractions of a second.
Otto struck out looking his last time up.
Like Syndergaard's trying to get the ball inside to Votto, but he's just unable to do that. It's funny how different teams pitch Votto different ways. A couple of teams out there do nothing but pound him inside. But Votto in this last homestand hit a home run to right field, hit a line drive base hit to right field. So maybe they're thinking it's time to go back outside again. Coming in this time.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Suarez running. Votto gone. And another stolen base for the Reds on Syndergaard. It's a 4th stolen base of the night. And Suarez 4th of the year.
Syndergaard came into the ballgame having given up 4 successful stolen bases and only 1 thrown out. Reds have doubled that number in 1 game.
But the Reds need a hit with a runner in scoring position. Their only run came with a runner at third base and nobody out in the third on a sac fly by Kozart. And they're hoping DeJesus, who's playing for the injured Phillips, can deliver a base hit, his first plate appearance of the night. Started 2, laid off the outside corner, 2-0. And there's a base hit into right field by DeJesus, but the runner's going to have to hold it third. From that angle for Suarez, very hard to tell if Duda had a chance to catch it. But now you have him on the corners with 1 out in the inning. What a nice piece of hitting there by Ivan DeJesus Jr.
That's got to feel so good for Ivan to hit the ball like that. He's been struggling early on in the year. And just a nice level swing to line drive to right field.
Well, I'm sure that Adam Duvall, as you brought up earlier, every hitter against a guy like Syndergaard is up there looking fastball and try to adjust to a slider or changeup. Duvall in the on-deck circle. He will follow Mesoraco. We'll see if one of these two guys can jump on one of those fastballs. And that one is at the belt, a strike to Devin at 97. An infield hit for Devin, his first time up, on a ground ball up the third base line. And then he flied out to short left field his last trip. Runner takes off first to second. And that's a 5th stolen base of the night for the Reds.
I am so happy to see the Reds pushing the running game.
Yes. Kudos to Brian Price. You know, you got to take advantage against another team's weakness, and Syndergaard's weakness is holding runners on base. Mesoraco backing out, 2nd and 3rd. That's a tying run at second base. We're in the 6th inning. 1 out, 2-2 count. Syndergaard against Mesoraco. Two out.
Well, eventually he's going to go to that slider, you know it, and after seeing the fastball in the high 90s, can't stay back. 8 of them now for Syndergaard.
You never know how the final 3 innings are going to go. This could be the biggest at bat of the night. Duvall's had some good swings on the Syndergaard fastball tonight, but Syndergaard has put him away twice on sliders and starts him with a slider. Perhaps that's why. Brought up earlier, Chris touched on the fact that these two guys saw each other coming up through the minor leagues, and as recently as just 2 years ago. And it's pretty evident that that's all Duvall's going to get. Slider, slider, maybe until now.
Well, you're right. And if he gets a fastball, likely not going to be in the zone. This time at the plate, though, you see Duvall wearing glasses. Maybe he went into the locker room and got some anti-Thor glasses.
Three straight sliders. 9 strikeouts for Syndergaard. 3-1, Mets in front.
May 6th through the 8th when the Reds host the Star Wars weekend at the ballpark. Friday, May 6th, the first 20,000 fans will receive a Star Wars poster. Plus, stick around for a post-game fireworks show. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com.
All right, bottom of the 6th inning. And the Mets coming to bat against a new Reds pitcher. That would be J.C. Ramirez.
He had a pretty good outing, his first ever with the Reds. I'll tell you, very impressive for J.C. Ramirez, who came out throwing between 95 and 98. And after he walked the first batter that he faced, he went on to retire the rest of the batters he faced in that 2-inning stint.
Iglesias goes 5. Allows 8 hits, fans 7, walks 2, and gives up 3 runs all earned. And all 3 New York runs came via the long ball. A solo home run by Conforto in the first, 2-run homer by Duda in the third. One other change for the Reds. This is part of a double switch because they're expecting more than 1 inning out of Ramirez. Tyler Holt replacing Duvall in right field.
Yeah, I said that J.C. Ramirez's previous outing was 2 innings. It was 3 innings. And in 3 innings, he faced 10 batters.
And if I'm not mistaken, he walked the first batter he faced and retired 9 in a row.
Correct.
Not 9 in a row. I beg your pardon. I'm wrong on that. He walked the batter, retired 8 in a row, allowed a single, but got the final out of the inning when the runner was thrown out trying to steal. Garneau is tapped out to the catcher in front of the plate and grounded to third his last time up. Off the bag and into center field.
Pretty good battle really for Garneau, who just tries to put that ball in play and hits it right back through the middle.
Syndergaard up there and trying to advance the runner. He has one sacrifice so far this year. Tonight has struck out and walked. Perfectly placed. A sacrifice for Syndergaard. One out, top of the order, Granderson on his way to the plate, and we'd like to tell you that you can get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before the start of every game with Reds Live right here on Fox Sports Ohio. It's presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing, and again tomorrow night we get started at 6:30 Eastern. Brandon Finnegan, a left-handed, against a veteran Bartolo Colon. Game coverage starts at 7. Love to have you join us tomorrow night. Broken back, 2 out. One more to get for Ramirez. Reds will have Schebler, Holt, Hamilton to start the ninth, to start the 7th, I beg your pardon. That's a wicked slider right there by Ramirez.
That was the pitch that they talked to him about using more of when they sent him down to AAA. He did not make the team out of spring training. Had some good outings in spring training.
Broken back. And how about Ramirez? He allows a leadoff single and really just dominates Granderson and right. Broken bats on a pop-up and a ground out. Time to take a look at our Honda game summary. In the first inning, Michael Conforto clubbing his third home run of the year, 1-0 New York. Reds got a run to tie it in the third, but due to snap the tie with a 2-run home run to right. And the rest has been up to Syndergaard, especially Chris, with 2 on and 1 out in that 6th inning, striking out Mesoraco and then Duvall.
Well, with the kind of numbers that Syndergaard has put up so far this year, obvious he doesn't give you many opportunities. So the few that you had, the Reds had one in the first inning. They had another one, as you mentioned, there in the 6th. I make it it was the 2nd, the 4th, and the 6th innings where you had a little bit of an opportunity. I mean, they're talking about this guy being the best pitcher in baseball right now. So when you do get a chance.
Schebler pops it up left side of the infield, 1 out.
You know, he's battled tonight, Syndergaard has. I mean, maybe it wasn't as easy as he thought it would be, but when he needed to make some pitches, he did. For the 3rd out in the inning with a couple of runners on base, Adam Duvall comes up. He's faced him before. And 3 nasty, wicked sliders in a row. And there's not much you can do with those pitches.
You know, Chris, we were talking about it. I think that Syndergaard, certainly he has a better view of it than we do. And a better feel for it than we do. As you see that slider, it is up 4 miles per hour just over last year.
Yeah, that's an amazing number right there, because you just don't see that happen. There's a lot of pitchers out there that throw their sliders in the 88-mile-an-hour range. Only Syndergaard throws it above 92, at least as a starter. Took a little bit off that. I would imagine that's the curveball.
We are in the 7th inning, 1 out. Syndergaard's fan 9. If you weren't with us earlier, he is trying to join Randy Johnson in 1995 with the Mariners as just the 2nd pitcher in the history of baseball, or at least going back to 1900, with consecutive games of 8 or more strikeouts, 1 or fewer runs allowed to start a season. That one will trickle through, and a base hit for Tyler Holt.
How about Tyler Holt getting 2 curveballs, and then Syndergaard tries to sneak that fastball by him. Holt just puts his bat out there and he punches it into right field. Now Holt, of course, has played some center field. He can run a little bit, so I imagine he will be off to the races here very early in this at bat.
Reds already with 5 stolen bases in the game tonight, and I mean, Darno has either not thrown at all, or when he threw, he probably shouldn't have thrown. None of the 5 has been close. And now you're going to roll back over to the top of the order. Hamilton, the number 9 batter, 1 of 2. And that one's thrown away. And Holt will advance on to second base, and he thought about it. I tell you, he's a mile a minute, isn't he?
Well, he really is, and he wanted to make sure they picked it up. He picked up Billy Hatcher at third base, who had his hands up and the stop sign on.
I loved his comments after the game yesterday when asked about, you know, his style of play and his energy. He said, come on. He said, I'm not playing every day. He said, I'd still bring that energy if I was playing every day. And for a guy who's played over 600 minor league games.
Well, let's face it. I mean, he faces it. If he doesn't play like that, he doesn't play in the big leagues.
That's right. Well, here's where you'd really like to see him get down to third sometime quickly in this at bat.
I remember that was the same thing that Ryan Freel used to say when they accused Freel of playing with reckless abandon, running into walls, falling in the dugouts, making, you know, just sacrificing his body to try to make a play. He says, if I don't play like this, I'm not a big leaguer.
rushing it up there, 97 miles per hour. And here we are in the 7th inning, and Syndergaard set to turn loose his 104th pitch of the night. He has 9 strikeouts so far. And a line drive, sinking liner. Holt better get back. And he does. Hamilton made good contact on that pitch. 2 away in the inning. That was a nice short quick swing by Hamilton.
And that's the only thing you want him to do is a short quick swing, cut the strikeouts down, keep the ball out of the air. You'll take those because it was near a line drive. Of course, that slider that time by Syndergaard kind of left it up around the waist.
All right, this has been the best Reds hitter by far so far this season, and that is Kozar. 0 for 2 tonight. A sac fly RBI. Slider away. Remember, more the breaking ball at 81 miles per hour. Well, you'd love to get Suarez to the plate in this inning. And let's see if Kozar can make that happen. Suarez has 5 home runs so far this year. He's on deck. And he will get a chance to bat. Kozar drives in his 2nd run of the game, a 2-out single to plate Holt. And now the Reds within 1 with Suarez coming up, and the night is over for Syndergaard. The signal has already been given by Terry Collins.
Well, he didn't hang that one. Kozar went down and got a very good pitch to get it into left center field. Boy, he is hitting everything so far this season.
So Syndergaard will not match Randy Johnson. 4 games to start of the year, punching out 8 or more, allowing 1 or fewer. He's given up 2, leaves to a standing ovation with a 1-run lead. This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Back in a moment. Live streaming sports service delivers everything you want. Visit MLB.tv for details. This is a very, very interesting decision as Syndergaard is lifted from the game following the Kozar RBI single to pull within 1. You've got Eugenio Suarez, a right-handed batter, coming to the plate. Against left-handed pitching this year, he is 10 for 22, a .455 batting average, 3 of his 5 home runs on the year. And the Mets bring in left-hander Antonio Bastardo.
Well, you got to like that, because Bastardo, his numbers will tell you he's much tougher against lefties and righties.
It will be interesting to hear from Terry Collins after the game about this decision. You certainly understand it if Votto were the one coming to the plate, but he's in the on-deck circle. Righty's hitting .280 against him. Bastardo's been around a long time. We saw him originally with Philadelphia. Has pitched in 60 or more games 4 of the last 5 years. Signed a 2-year deal with the Mets this offseason. Suarez 5 home runs, 3 against left-handers. He's 1 for 3 tonight, a single and a stolen base. Two 2-0.
Green-line him right here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, he's seen 3 pitches in a row, all fastballs, so he should have the timing and the release point and everything else down against Bastardo, who may just take a little bit off this one to get it right over the plate.
Eugenio Suarez with a tying run at first. We're in the 7th inning, 2 out. 3-0 pitch. Nowhere near the strike zone on any of the 4 pitches. And now Votto. You know, those who watch the Mets regularly will tell you that Terry Collins makes a lot of moves over the course of the year like this one that will make you scratch your head a little bit. But obviously, enough worked last year to the tune of winning the National League pennant.
Well, you're right. There was one, however, in the postseason that Mets fans are still talking about. Leaving Matt Harvey in a game, maybe one batter too long.
It's a big at bat for Votto. 0 for 3 tonight, has struck out twice. And we mentioned Bastardo has been very good against left-handers. This year they're 1 for 11. In his career they're batting .176. It's interesting to know that only Aroldis Chapman, going back to 2011, has struck out more National League batters as a reliever than Antonio Bastardo, yet he's not thrown a strike tonight. Still hasn't. 2-0.
Well, he missed with fastballs against Suarez, and now he's missing with sliders against Votto.
Boy, Terry Collins is wearing out that chewing gum.
Going into hyper chew.
Yes. Big pitch right here. 2-0 to Votto. First strike thrown by Bastardo. Walked Suarez on 4 in a row. And that strike after.
Still not sure if that was actually over the plate.
Yep. Started Votto 2-0. That's a tying run now in scoring position. The go-ahead run is at first for the Reds in a 7th. 2-2. Alrighty, here we go. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The runners will be off with 2 away in the inning. The Mets 3, the Reds 2. The Reds have come up with a run to knock out Syndergaard here in the 7th. And Votto tries to deliver. Have tied the game on a 2-out run scoring single by Joey Votto.
Well, he got a pitch up. He had to deliver a strike with the runners on the move. It was easy to score from second. And Votto puts a good swing on that ball. Line drive to right field. We've seen more of those out of Votto this year so far than we saw in a lot of last year. But we'll take him anyway in any field. And Terry Collins will come out and make a pitching change.
Bastardo booed off the field. He does not retire a batter. The Reds have tied this baby up in the 7th, and now they're sniffing a lead. We're back in a moment. Two pitch and 2 outs. Votto ties the game with a single in the right. And now the Reds have the go-ahead run at third. They have not led this entire game. Logan Verrett, 13 scoreless innings pitched, including 2 spot starts. In those spot starts, very good numbers, and this is his 5th game of the year. He has 1 win.
Young man that was originally drafted by the Mets and then drafted a couple of different times. Once in the Rule 5 draft, got put on waivers and eventually returned to the Mets.
They're glad to have him the way he's thrown the ball so far. All right, here's DeJesus. First pitch slider in there, strike. DeJesus replacing injured Brandon Phillips, who was hit on his left ring finger by Syndergaard in the 4th inning. DeJesus has 1 at bat tonight. He had a single against Syndergaard and stole a base. Go ahead run stands at third. 3-3 game. And certainly Cozart is going to be alert down there at third base. Spin one of those sliders up there in the dirt, or rather Suarez, and you've got a chance to take the lead. Fastball in there, a strike. No decision tonight for that man. He gets charged with all 3 Reds runs in the game. Did he go around? No. Two-two pitch. That time he got it. But the Reds scored twice on base hits with 2 outs by Cozart and Votto. They stand and stretch in a 3-3 game. Coaches waste no time going for each other's jugular. The friendship is put to the test when training partners square off in the octagon. Wednesday at 10 Eastern and Pacific. Michael Conforto has had a mighty good night. Home run his first time up. Singled and scored on the Duda home run in the third. And then a little pop-up down the left field line. Out of the reach of Suarez, it was ruled a double. So a triple away from a cycle. Conforto does not have one of those this year. Three, 4, and 5 in the Mets batting order against J.C. Ramirez, who allowed a leadoff single and a little bouncer through the middle in the 6th, but retired the next 3 batters. Duda to follow, and then Neil Walker. All of a sudden, Ramirez a little wild. A couple of pitchers missing, not by a little bit, by a lot.
Sometimes you get caught up in the flow of the ball game. You come in, your team's down by a couple of runs. There's not a lot of pressure on you. Now in a tie ball game, things change a little bit, especially if you allow them to change.
Well, it's probably safe to say, and as soon as these words come off my lips, the Reds will get somebody warmed up in the bullpen, but this 7th inning belongs to Ramirez. The Reds are counting on him getting the job done right here and right now. They've used a lot of bullpen over the weekend. Mark Riggins is going to call down there. But they need Ramirez to get 3 outs without a run here in the 7th.
There goes the shift again with Eugenio Suarez. After 1 pitch in the at-bat, a strike, will go over there and play really in the second baseman spot.
Well, after a walk to begin the inning, he's come right back past Ramirez and gotten in front of Duda. 0-2. Single, 2-run home run, ground ball to short for Duda. Gonna get there is Suarez, as Chris mentioned, in between De Jesus and Votto. And that's a strikeout on a foul tip into the mid of Devin Mesoraco. 1 out. Neil Walker has singled. Hopped to second base, struck out. Iglesias off the hook. And no decision for each starter in this one. You got to give the Reds a lot of credit. You've got a guy who's been among the most dominant pitchers in all of baseball so far this young season. You fall behind 3-1. You're on the road. You're coming off a lost weekend. And yet they find a way to battle back and tie the game, knocking Syndergaard out of the game. We are 3-3 in the 7th, and it's 0-2 on Walker. Cotham is getting loose. Man, is that a good pitch.
It's a good pitch, and it goes to show you what good bat control he has in there, Walker. Came over here in a trade in December for John Neese, left-handed pitcher. That guy is on fire. For Neil Walker, that is 7 home runs in the last 10 games.
8 on the year. This guy has just been unconscious. There's no other way to describe it. Walker's career high in home runs came 2 years ago. He hit 23. Last year at 543 at bats, he hit 16. Ground ball to the shortstop, 2 away in the inning. So no sooner do the Reds tie the game, the Mets are right back in front. All of their runs tonight have come via the long ball, and really that's been their MO, as they have been clubbing home runs at a ridiculous pace here over the last 2 weeks. 3 home runs in a game. Walker has tied Jeff Kent for the Mets record by a second baseman for home runs in a calendar month. And that's in any month. 8 of them. Kent did it in '94. Strike 3 on Diaz, and that will end the inning with major damage done. A leadoff walk. 1 out later, a 2-run big fly. Reds have 2 more cracks at him down a pair. prove once again they've got plenty of backbone in this whole thing. It's not going to be from a lack of trying. They came back down 3-1 to Syndergaard. And now the Mets will go to their right-handed setup man, a one-time closer, Addison Reed. Already his 10th game. One pitch, one out.
Reed got traded over here from the Arizona Diamondbacks last year. So he got about half the season, at least the last month or so with the Mets. Right on August 30th, so he was eligible for the postseason. He is their main 8th inning guy this year.
Jordan Pacheco will now pinch hit for J.C. Ramirez. He's the pitcher of record right now. A couple of changes for the Mets. Plawecki is now behind the plate. And taking over in center field, Juan Lagares.
Addison Reed seems like he's been around a long time, and he's only 27 years old.
You're right.
He broke into the major leagues at age 22, cup of coffee with the White Sox, but then from then on, from age 23 on, he has been a go-to guy in the bullpen wherever he's been.
Now, they wanted him to be the closer, and he was a closer for a while, but for whatever reason, it didn't play out the way
he
he
had
hoped.
40 saves in 2013 at age 24 with the White Sox. Then he went over to the Arizona Diamondbacks. He saved 32. So, I mean, he's a nice piece to have in a bullpen.
Well, you may remember that the Mets lost their closer to a suspension. So, you know, Familia had to take over that role. And we understand that he's not been as sharp as he was at the end of last year so far this year. If we keep going like we're going, we'll see him in the next inning to try and come in and nail it down.
I mean, the Mets ended up getting him from the Diamondbacks for 2 minor league players.
And don't assume for a second that's because the Mets are the high spending, free spending, big market team, because they're not. When they went to the World Series last year, the Kansas City Royals had a higher team payroll than the New York Mets.
You'd never guess that.
Nope. When Sandy Alderson took this team over, you got to remember now, we're talking 6 seasons ago, this being the 7th. At that time, the Mets had a $150 million payroll. That's like 200 now. He shaved better than $50 million off of that and started running this team like it's a small market team. Trades, drafting, developing your own players. It's all about the trades, man. No doubt developing is the pipeline. But when you make the trades, you gotta make the good trades. Inning over. Mets bat last of the 8th, leading by 2.
X-Wing Fighter Mr. Reds bobblehead. It's thanks to Dynergy Energy Service. Get your tickets to Star Wars Weekend for as low as $12. Call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. New pitcher on for Cincinnati, boys.
And this guy knows a little bit about New York, Caleb Cotham.
He was here last year on the other side of town, toiling for the Bronx Bombers, and his cup of coffee that he had up here. 12 games, 9 innings overall for Cotham. Young man from Mount Juliet, Tennessee.
Well, if you're just tuning in, the Mets took a 1-0 lead in the first. The Reds tied it in the third. In the bottom of the third, the Mets broke that tie on a 2-run home run by Duda. Stayed that way with Noah Syndergaard on the mound. Pitched out a 2-on and 1-out trouble in the 6th. But in the 7th, 2 outs, 1 on. Kozart, a base hit to make it 3-2. That was all for Syndergaard. After a walk, Joey Votto with 2 outs on a 3-2 pitch, a single to tie the game. And not long after you finish clapping your hands and cheering as a Reds fan, a leadoff walk after an out, 2-run big fly by Neil Walker, number 8. And that's where we stand here after the strikeout with 1 away in the bottom of the 8th inning. Juan Lagares will bat for the first time. He was a young man they were thinking might be sharing a little bit of playing time with Conforto at one time. Not anymore. Conforto is in there for the long haul every day. Stays with it. April in the OHIO continues tomorrow in the Big Apple. Game 2. Reds and the Mets. Reds Live will kick it all off at 6:30. April in the OHIO presented by Meyer. Pitching matchup tomorrow. We mentioned the youngster Finnegan just turned 23 against Bartolo Colon, the ageless one. He just keeps rolling right along.
He sure does. Now 43 years old. A mere 20 years older than his mound opponent.
Anderson looks at a strike. 1-1 to Curtis. 1 for 4, an infield hit in the second. Reds will have Holt, Hamilton, Kozart. Those were the guys who were right in the middle of that 2-run comeback in the 7th. Can they do it again? Against Familia. He will come on and pitch in the 9th. And there he is. A 1-2-3 inning for Cotham, so the 9th inning right around the bend. Reds down 2. Major League coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE in the last year. And by Toyota, for over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. We are in the big city, Manhattan. Go through the Queens Tunnel, and you can arrive right out here in Flushing, New York, Citi Field. Hey, big congratulations. We just learned a minute ago, Hannah and Jay Bruce blessed with a little baby boy, Carter Bruce, born at 9:08 Eastern time tonight. Congratulations to Jay and Hannah.
Not kidding about that.
Doesn't get any better now.
Their lives will change forever and so much better.
So much better. Congratulations. We're really happy for the both of you. I know you make wonderful, loving parents. Charisse Familia. 5 out of 5 and saved chances so far this year. But keep in mind now, you look at what he did after he took over as a closer. Well, there's a name from the past, Armando Benitez. Well, what an intimidating right-hander he was.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Well, you know, we talk about Familia. This is not a slam dunk now. In his 9 innings of work this year, he has allowed 17 base runners. He's given up 13 hits in 9 innings and 4 walks. Holt started off.
Well, there's nothing short about Familia's stuff. He can dial it up around 100 miles an hour. In fact, his nickname on the ball club is Hombre Sucio, which translates as Mr. Nasty. He got 2 fastballs right across the letters right there for strikes. And I'm wondering if Tyler Holt stays in his hitting crouch. And if you just stay in that crouch right there instead of coming up a little bit, now that was definitely a strike. That was just a little bit above the waist.
2-2 pitch. Back through the middle. That's a nice play by Cabrera. Went a long way to get that ball, and Holt runs well. 1 out in the 9th.
He's a long-rangey shortstop anyway, about 6 feet 4 inches tall, and he just kind of comes right across the center of the infield to make a nice play. Holt can run a little bit too.
Billy Hamilton, somehow, some way, trying to get aboard and give Cozart Suarez a shot to tie it with one mighty crack of the bat. Shot down the third baseline. Nice play down there, big fella. Come on, take the high five. You're allowed to smile. I mean, come on now. You've been waiting all night for one. You're allowed to smile. There you go. Big fella. Oh, man. That is gas. Just off the outside corner. Foul ball. Well, you're right. That nickname. How do you say that again? Mr. Nasty in Espanol?
Hombre sucio.
Hombre sucio. He looks like hombre sucio. Two to Billy. Full count. Payoff pitch to Hamilton. On the ground. 2 out. Tonight's cricket, something to smile about. It's been another excellent night for Zach Kozart. What a year he's having. He's knocked in 2 of the 3 Reds runs. Sac fly in the 3rd, 2 out, single in the 7th to bring him within 1. And then scored on the single by Votto. He's trying to keep the Reds' hopes alive here in the 9th. And gives Suarez a chance to tie it. Strike 1. I think some of the Reds have been a little upset about some high strikes called in this inning. Holton, now Kozart. 0-2. And a foul ball. Mercy. Almost.
The way he's been going, I can't believe it didn't stay fair.
You're not lying. Kozart's 1 for 3 tonight with 2 batted in, and his batting average has gone down. Came in hitting .400. But he can get it back moving north with a knock right here. Familia a 1-2-3 9th inning. Back and forth. Mets will go ahead. Reds tied it. Mets go ahead. Reds tied it. Mets go ahead and they close it out. Verrett the winner. Ramirez the loser. Familia the save. And the Mets have won 9 in a row now against the Reds. Back with more from New York in a moment.